Simple choice. That's all it is. All right. Well, what you think? Wow.
Do I need to get us some fish? Yes.
No. And I apologize. I usually have little fish from the dollar store that I bring, and I went to go get them, and I don't have any left. So I have to go visit the dollar store and get more fish. But I actually bought like a whole case of these little tiny fish, and you'll see them around various campuses because I've gone and done that for fun. Oh, I think that's right here. So you like it?
Yeah.
You see some applications to what we do? Okay. Interesting. If you were to go to Seattle, or even just go and Google the top 10 things to do in Seattle, yeah, guess what? That'd be in the top 5.
Yeah.
Go visit the fish market. Yeah. Okay. I love the phrase. It says, when you're being world famous, you're being a lot different than when you're just being a fish market. And it's hard to believe that really a fish market has that world famous status and is in the top 5 things to do in Seattle. I've been in Seattle, just landed, took off, and turned around and came back and landed because the pilot said our plane wasn't working. So I never had the chance to go, but I would like to. But you know what it's like after you've left the airport like an hour and a half ago and the pilot says we're returning because the plane isn't working?
You can choose your attitude, John.
Yeah! You have to choose your attitude. So I'll tell you, it's quite fun. And then you get this nice little escort of about 17 fire trucks following you up the runway. And I find pilots that give me way too much information these days, right? Yeah, we're not going to pull up to the gates now just in case the brakes are on fire. Because we really had to stop that. Good to know.
What airline?
Yeah. Air Canada. Oh. All right. So let's get back to the physical market. So it is. It's pretty cool, right? You take a look at that. I love the girl there. She's well, I work at what do you so yeah. Those scissors. All right. So you can see how you can kind of, make this work for you guys. So help me out in regards to play. What are some of the things that we think that popped into your mind? What are some of the things that we can do to play? Yeah.
No verbal banter that.
Oh, that's always fun. Yeah, it works between my wife and I. What else can we do?
I thought it was important that you said you. So use your own sense as opposed to trying to imitate somebody else.
Okay. Really important, right? So do we even have to throw it? No.
Even sometimes you can see on something new or not know or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You keep on even about it.
Sure. What else can we do? Yeah.
Do you really?
We never know this. Oh my God! I've never been here and heard any harmony going on. Ah.
I have pretty cool things, so I'm
That's a lot better. You know what? There's the phrase I like to wear. I have to tell you something. A lot of stuff's corny, right? Yeah. And you kind of say to yourself, oh, that's corny. I'm professional. I put on a suit and tie today. That's corny. But that's the stuff people remember, right? Is that corniness, because you know what? It's you taking a risk and going out on a limb. Okay? My kids, I have 4 kids, and 2 nephews that we did with us. So, yeah, I got one. And 1 grandchild. And I'll tell you what, they give me the hardest, they're the worst critics in the entire world, right? They say, Dad, you're corny, your jokes suck. They're not even funny. And I tell you this, my wife says they love you dearly because you know the nights you're up in Toronto are out on business and we're sitting at the dinner table and somebody says something and then someone else at the table says, if Dad were here, this is what they don't have the guts to be corny themselves, but they can hide under my banter of being corny, right? So you know what? That's really important. Sometimes we have to go out. We have to take the risk because it just basically tells our students and the people we work around that we can do it. So that certainly makes them a lot more comfortable. I think, did you have something back there you're going to add?
No, I'm just enjoying it.
Good. But there's a lot we can do. And I'll tell you from a curriculum perspective, the curriculum we give you, and again, that's part of me coming back, we have to deliver the competencies that's set out in the curriculum, right? So we can't tell someone, well, you can leave here. We had a lot of fun today, but, you know, you couldn't, we didn't get to cover all the stuff that we were supposed to cover before. Did we have a good time? Okay. So we do have to cover that, but certainly the curriculum is the bare minimum of what we expect that we're going to deliver. We can add to that. And that's what I'm suggesting. Let's add to that curriculum so that we can make it fun. Right? Because, I mean, I know I learn a lot better when I'm having fun. So when we're not playing and that stress is there, where's the stress come from? Uh-oh. Don't point. When we have stress, where does it come from? Just life. Okay, just life. Maybe something at home. Maybe it was that idiot who cut you off. Okay. Where else is stress coming from? It's yourself, internal. Okay. Yeah. We put a lot of stress on ourselves, right? Matter of fact, a lot of times when I really talk to people after they've been through something really stressful, most of it's been self-inflicted stress. Boy, that's really sad when we do that to ourselves. Right? So we have to learn how to be able to get through that. And laughter is a really, really easy way to, get rid of that kind of stuff. Okay? And it's work, right? And when we're under stress, it impacts our performance. It's there, right? I'll tell you something. I learned this. This was hilarious, okay? This is really stupid, but it's kind of interesting. A few years back, we were on vacation with the family, and we were someplace warm in the wintertime. And we were in the pool, and we were having competitions who could hold their breath the longest underwater. And I was later sitting by the pool, and this epiphany kind of thing. I probably did it about 15 times with my kids. And I can tell you that I can hold my breath for easily a minute underwater. I don't have any problems or any concerns that I could hold my breath for at least a minute underwater. I did it 15 consecutive times without any issues. Then I started to wonder, what if somebody said, Don, you just did it 15 times. You know you can do it. I mean, 60 seconds was nothing. You were under there sometimes for 90 seconds. But this time it's going to be different. We're going to handcuff you to the bottom of the pool. But don't worry, 60 seconds, the handcuffs come loose. Do you think that might impact my performance?
Yeah.
You think that anxiety of going down with a handcuff to the bottom of the pool might impact my ability to do something I just did 15 times without no problem? Of course it does. So that's why it's so important that we have to get that stress out, because you know what? It's counterproductive. And they figured that out, right? Let's do it. That's a terrible job. I mean, I think about it. I mean, you have to get up early. Now, just now, we're going to guide you on the subway, right? Shoveling. And I mean, it's a fish market in Seattle. I mean, it's always sunny in Seattle, right? Okay, that's a pretty cloudy place to live in, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why they shouldn't be happy, but they chose not to. So I think that's really kind of cool. Okay, any other suggestions or thoughts on how we can play? Yeah?
I just like it.
Okay.
If I don't like the way I'm feeling, I change my thinking.
Okay. Very good.
So if you find yourself getting, I immediately switch over to thinking, that's a lot easier, taking courses and how to get there. I just change my thinking immediately about it.
Yeah.
I make it right in my mind.
Wow. That's really important, and that's gonna come back to choose your attitude, right? Because that's,
You have choices, but I choose that constantly. I don't want to dwell on negative.
have you ever gone out for dinner in a bad mood? I have from time to time. Usually
When I get the check, I get into that.
Yeah. Usually the experience hasn't been that great, right? I set myself up. Okay. I gotta tell you, this is supposedly a true story. Someone sent it to me via email about a month ago, and I thought it was really kind of cute. PSW people probably like it. His family was really toiling at putting their father into a long-term care facility, but knew they had to because he had deteriorated. And so they were at the long-term care facility with the dad and everything else, and the director of care said, Mr. Jones, we have a room for you on the second story that faces south. And he said, I love it. I love facing south. Wonderful. Great. And then the lady said, well, he must have Alzheimer's. He must have experienced other things. So he went to the family, doesn't even talk to him, but goes to the family of the experience of Alzheimer's or whatever. And he looked at her and he said, you can talk to me. And he said, no. And she said, but we haven't even shown you the room yet. How do you know you're going to like the room? And he said, well, when you get to be 90 years old, you choose what you're going to like before you even get to see it. I'm going to like it. Right? So what a great, just to love old people. You come up with these great things, insights, and everything. Okay. So, that's what it's all about. Okay, so that's the plan. I really encourage you guys, to go out there and don't be afraid to show a little bit of your corny side. I know sometimes it's tough because, we're professional and we shouldn't show that side of us. But, when we do, it gives people permission around us to share that same kind of corny stuff. And you know what? Maybe they'll just say, well, if so-and-so were here, this is what they would say, but at least we're starting to move down that particular line, right? All right. How about Make Their Day? What are some of the things that popped up in your mind around Make Their Day?
Some of it could have been just playing.
Okay, sure.
Just showing another side of you that they might not have seen. Because, let's face it, for most people going to school, they're thinking now of high school, public school, whatever, and for some of them, it was not a good experience.
Correct.
So the minute they walk into a class and go, oh, okay, how's the day going to start? And wow, my teacher laughed. She didn't think this was so serious, or she made a joke about it, whatever. I think by doing that, not necessarily every single day, but letting them see you. Like we had one of these moments not long ago in my classroom. All this new terminology today, we were talking about, I said, just think what's going to happen. We're doing mutual funds right now. But when your generation comes up, your kids, look how fast everything is moving, because they're changing the course consistently. So I happened to use a phrase, which I had to think twice about because it's something else. And said, you'll hook up, and I said, stop right there. Forget the hookup you're thinking about. It's the hookup I'm telling you about. The whole class is right there. And the thinking, I said, look, I got a teenage son, I know what a hookup is. Okay? And this is, and when they see that from you, they really realize. And actually, you guys were doing a survey. So one of the students, she's always talking to her. She says, Gloria, she says, I want to know, do you really care about me? I said, of course I do. Why do you think I come over here? She goes, thanks. And then I did answer it the right way. And I was, because you guys came in a company when I went to get my cup of coffee. So when they see that, this is something that I've been here a long time. It's something that's always been said. There's nothing better than when a student that doesn't know you sees you in the hallway, you smile, they hear laughter in the next class, and you go, this is a fancy and financial. You guys are supposed to be crying when you do this, not laughing. Exactly. And then when they see that they see, because that just relaxes everybody. You can't do it all the time, every day, but it breaks the monotony sometimes. It's a really difficult thing you're trying for them to understand. And it's a win-win situation. All
good. Like it. How about other thoughts on Make Your Day, or Make Their Day?
At the end of the day, if the students, they do get the sense of achievement, if they have done something, if they have gone ahead, you have made their day. So they must see that they are moving from A to B, from B to C. Correct. They have done something. So they're going to make it.
Perfect. I like it. They're leaving the day with something, right? Yeah, and I think you were going to say.
No, I find that in these classwork puzzles on a particular topic,
Yeah.
where then this who got the most and got all this blocks filled in. I find it like doing the puzzle on a particular subject or anything like that. So I like to do that. Or what I'm trying to develop, what I have done it yet, is this Jeopardy game about a particular topic. I've only done it once last term, but I haven't done it yet for this class.
And a suggestion,
The Jeopardy game. Right?
talking about Jeopardy, you know what? It's the students to write the question.
Yeah.
What a great way to make it now, you know, from a student perspective. Yeah. So don't think, and a lot of times you don't think, oh, I don't have time for this, or whatever. But think about it from the part of, you know, making their day is, you know what, Friday I want to play Jeopardy. There's 15 of us in class. We're going to break it down into 3 categories. So let's take, you know, or 5 categories, 5 competencies for what we're learning, and then I need people to take a category and write a question, right? You don't think that's going to make their day, right? And you have to provide the answer too, right? They're studying. They don't even know it. They're actually studying, right? Good one. I like that. I like that. What else can we do to make the day? I think so. Yeah.
I do something very simple in transcription. They complete, if they get perfect, they get a gong.
Oh.
And I gong, and then one gal came up and she got perfect. But where's my gong?
Yeah.
My gong just no, I just made my day.
Again, a little tiny
I do
thing.
bunnies, I do all sorts of intensive, just to keep it going and moving, and they come in happy and moving. The feeling, that's really important, that they move also, even if it's not positive that they get back, because sometimes you can't take criticism, but it's the way you deliver it.
Right. That's all it is. Perfect. And just back there, no, come up here. Yeah.
Somehow I don't believe in delivering in 1 to 3, 4 passages a day. What I do is, I just take a student who's going down and just tell him, okay, this guy is using internet a lot. Will you come up with some suggestions to market? And it's a good thing, something he's doing in a competitive way.
Right.
And when he accomplishes that, then I show him the entire chapter, which is what he covered.
Wow.
And then when he starts reading, he has already done it.
Right. Exactly. So we give them like real life instances. I was actually in the accounting class earlier, and they were saying we want more real life. We want to practice them. So those will be things I'll take back to our curriculum. You had a question or a comment?
I started working with my payroll class.
Okay.
So every day or after finishing every topic, I'm giving them a challenge. When I'm asking them, whoever is going to answer this question, they will get a topic from me. And at the end of the
Lots of work, man.
whoever has a maximum chocolate, they will get a special prize. So I started, and they really like it. So who's going to get a chocolate today? And
Okay.
every day they are getting units. I have 4 chocolates right now. I have 5 chocolates.
Wow.
Fun.
So it's like a currency.
Yeah.
How can I buy this thing? But it isn't easy. Go ahead.
So, talking about real life, we have mannequins
Oh, yeah.
patients, right?
Right.
I play patients. And I yell and scream and I pinch and I
Oh, yeah.
like this and no touch on me! Right? Yeah, you saw me in my front of the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it inspires them. It just, because they don't expect it, and they get such a laugh out of it. Like, I put on the diapers and they have to change my diapers. And they have to tell
Over
me
the top of her clothes.
But it works. They're not so shocked when they get into real life. Yeah.
I think this is a comment that's made from a lot of students. I know in my area, I wish that there's one that I can do, but the banks won't allow it. Because of security reasons and everything else, I think the students stop it. So can't do anything.
Yeah, it's just a computer.
They stop it, and they really like going out on outings and affecting things that they will see.
Yeah.
And they want us to do hands-on, but we're helping.
But I think really, I think as long as we are creative and we think outside the box and we have fun doing it, there's a can, but what's the can of it?
Yeah.
Right? Because even for us, I think we all need challenges. Because it's easy to come in and do what you already know, but it's also fun for us to grow and develop and say, well, this is our challenge today. We can't go to the stock exchange, but what else could we do?
Yeah, we do, but it's just
And I
too bad
know,
that because, I mean, in the medical, they do so much practicum, and students will say, well, they get to go and practice to be this or to do that. And I'd like to say, I wish we could too, but it's just, you know,
We can though.
Is the vacant entrance first?
Yes, but that's Ottawa.
Well, not the head, no, the head of, well,
I know the head of, because I used to bring my students to
Yeah.
Canada. What a blast, okay, literally, you wanna talk about make your day? My students used to be able to hold on to $1 million cash.
wow.
$1,000 bill. Okay, you don't think that they got back home after that field trip and told everybody, guess what I did today? I hung on to $1 million.
Oh, I think, yeah.
Okay?
It's supposed to be $1,000 bill, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what, I have to tell you, the first time I did it, my students all hung on to it, and then it came back to me. And I said, wow, it's the first time I've ever held on to $1 million. All my students looked at me like I was insane. It was a stack this high. How could that be $1 million? Right? It was 2 stacks of $500,000.
Yeah.
And I mean, they all, give it back to me. I didn't realize I was holding on to it. It was that much money, right? Yeah.
Now, our class last week had a great experience. Like, we had a practice clinic
Okay.
where staff, students came to donate blood. Even some of the big fishes around here came to donate. And actually, we have the pictures. We have a lot of pictures which we had to put up. But it's going to be nice because I'm going to get them to put them, when I started yesterday, putting them in order, group the pictures. And this lavender textile by the, the board?
Yeah.
The different color board. So guys, you better watch out for my poster.
All
So
right.
anyway, so they have, so they're getting involved in this kind of thing. This is very exciting. So we get them to do the work and they really like it. This one is going to come up. It's how what it should be.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see yourself on the
I'm gonna dress up.
It's really going to be good.
That loud. We're out for blood. There you go. Back to the comment.
Yeah, we have that.
We have an honor roll back at the reception area there, and Ruby students put all the grades, all the honor roll there, and then the key students were reminded that Noah's on there. I just congratulate them and keep encouraging them. So that is a huge thing for the students right now.
Very good.
Honor roll, yes, good.
There's nothing that, and I guess the point is we could probably go on for hours. There's a whole bunch of things we can do to make people sick, but it's just taking the moment to do that, right? So I really encourage you guys to kind of think about that and what it might mean to that individual. Right? So if you see someone maybe with some poor attendance, the first thing they have to do is acknowledge that they weren't here. Right? I often, and I get it. Okay, I understand some of the challenges that some of our students go through and everything else. But the first thing we have to do is we have to expect that they're going to do this. And then when we set that expectation, we say, "Did you do yesterday?" Or you call them and say, "Hey, you're not here with us." For a lot of our students, I mean, high school wasn't something that was a fond memory. They're coming back and they're sitting here that first 2 weeks and they're probably thinking, "What in the world am I thinking?" Right? I didn't have a good experience at high school. I didn't have, what am I doing? And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you got an honor roll that's 3 pages long. And I saw it up there in the hallway. That's amazing. That's probably, I'm going to guess, 25% of your student population, maybe somewhere.
You got it.
That's a lot of people on honor roll that may not have even made it.
Yeah.
That was a good invention.
So
That's
amazing. And that's the kind, and that's how you make their day, right?
That's exactly
Holy
right.
smokes, I'm working my butt off and someone's recognized it. I have to tell you this, and I know I want to be mindful of the time. One of the most interesting things that happened to me in my career so far was up in Thunder Bay. I was in Thunder Bay, and we had a student who was not progressing academically and had really poor attendance. And it was one of those people where you're actually really looking forward to speaking out. The one you're going, "Oh, I'm salivating, this is so good," And I sat across the desk from this girl, and I said, I don't get why you're wasting money. Your attendance isn't very good, you're not progressing academically. I have to sleep at night. I can't take money from you anymore, I'm taking you up. And I was glad to do it. I kind of felt like, good, I'm tough. And then she said, I should have listened to my mom. And for some strange reason, I should have maybe just got up and walked out at that point in time. But that intrigued me, why someone would say that after they're getting kicked out. So So I asked her, I said, why in the world would you say that phrase? I'm confused. And she said, well, 4 months ago when I decided to come to Everest Thunder Bay, I told my mom and she told me I would never make it. And why would I waste my time and money? Because I'm not smart enough to make it through college. I should have listened to her. And yeah, that's kind of what my thinking was. And I looked at her and I said, you know, I hate to say this to you, but I'm going to say it because I don't know my limits sometimes, but your mom's an idiot. And she goes, we agree on something. And I told her, I said, I don't know where I would be if when I decided to go to university, my mother would have said, well, you're not smart enough to take it to university. You're just wasting money going to university. I don't know where I would be. So I looked at that girl and I said, wow. I said, that just changed everything. I said, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to partner with you and make sure that we can see that you're successful so that you can prove your mother-in-law. I said, it's going to be a lot of hard work. You're going to have to be here every day and you're going to have to work. And she said, okay. And she did it. And I specifically flew back for that graduation because I thought, this is amazing, right? And you learn something, okay? When you bring students into Thunder Bay, things like 20 people leave for the graduation, the mayor shows up, all the MPs show up. There's nothing else to do in the wintertime. It's just the biggest graduation. It's just 2,000 people attend our graduation for 100 and some students. It's huge, right? The mayor does the talk, the MP goes up there. I'm surprised Stephen Harper hasn't shown up. Okay? And it's amazing, but you learn something. Okay, never have the students come up on this side of the stage, get the diploma, and exit that side of the stage and leave that night there. You don't on. Because that girl who got her diploma and gave me a great big hug, as she was walking by the microphone, stopped. And I went, oh, God. And she goes, Mom! And the whole audience went, ooh! And I'm like, yeah! But I got it. And it was, you know, that's the kind of stuff in regards to this, right? And sometimes it's taking a minute to understand where they're coming from. Because that's a way to make the day, right? Right? Not just all of a sudden judging them because of something that you saw. Okay? I mean, half a sentence is better than a full sentence anyway, because you can speculate your own ending for half a sentence, right? Half a story, what do they say? Believe something like 10% of what you see, because you can be fooled. Yeah. All right, how about be there? And I want to be mindful of our time, but what are some of the things we can do for be there? I think someone said just showing up every day, right?
Bring your energy and enthusiasm. Your sense and being there. Your mind. That's it.
Yeah, we walked in on this guy, and I told the class, I said, too bad you have to have very much enthusiasm, right? But I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's really important, right? They don't want to sit there.
Body language.
Okay, body language. How we're dressed, too, right? I mean, that says a lot about us, too, right? What else? Respecting students, but if we're not there for them, that's showing disrespect to them. Wow. Yeah, you know, this is, I've done everything you can in this organization, right? I even own my own school, so I was janitor for a long time. When you do everything, the thing that's the most touching for me is when a student comes in late, and you're trying to discipline them for coming in late, and then the student says, well, my teacher never gets there until 5 minutes after class starts, or 10 minutes after class starts. That's a tough one, right? Because you have to kind of have to lead what you expect them to do. So we can't hold them more accountable than we hold ourselves, right? So
Speaking of that, now we have to go.
yeah. All right. And then choose your attitude. I think you guys did it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope that, you had some fun with that. I think that you can go back to class and have one of you guys. And Kim, that's a good way too.
You've met?
And I'm coming.
that needs to get done?
okay.
Surprise.
And we
students must have internet.
We're on, well, we're a minute late.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize that.
Because of the
Yeah, they have passwords so that we can't get in. I thought that was necessary for what you taught, but Tina tells me that that's just a choice the students have made.